me, sweet darling. How are you today? Are you ready for bed? Good. Rush under the blanket. Nuzzle into your pillow. Get real close to me. Come, lean against my shoulder. And let me take you away again tonight. To another era. Another time. One where magic was real. One where witches roamed the kingdoms. And one where true love could heal all wounds. Are you ready? Good. So, let me tell you the story of Rapunzel, the maiden of the tower. Once upon a time, there lived a husband and a wife, both of them longing for a child of their own. For years they had wished upon a star to answer their calling. But sadly, their wishes were never answered. They lived in a small but cozy home, and behind the house lied a garden, grand, splendid, simply gorgeous, full of the most beautiful flowers and richest herbs. And through a small window, the husband and wife could see this garden. To let you know, it did not belong to them. The garden was enclosed by tall and thick brick walls, and no one ever dared to enter, because this magnificent garden belonged to a powerful witch, feared far beyond the borders of the kingdom, and feared far beyond the sea. So they always kept the distance, but one couldn't help but look outside a window to such a magnificent sight. One day, the wife stood by the small window and did just that. She looked down upon the garden. And that's when she noticed the bed of the most beautiful Rapunzels, a type of lettuce. The Rapunzels looked so fresh and green that the wife couldn't help but desire to eat from them, if only just a little bit. And this strange desire grew with every new day. But because the wife knew she would never have any of those specific Rapunzels, she began to grow fatigued, started to look pale and miserable, as if someone had put a spell on her. Her husband got startled and asked her, "What happened to you, dear wife? What's wrong?" And she answered, "Oh, if I cannot get any Rapunzels from the garden behind the house to eat, I'll die, I'm sure of it." The husband, who deeply loved her, thought to himself, "Before you let your wife pass away in your arms, you go get her those Rapunzels, no matter the cost." And so he did. At dusk, he climbed down into the witch's garden. In a hurry, he picked a handful of Rapunzels and carried them back to his wife. With no hesitation, she made a salad from those Rapunzels and ate all of it to calm her craving. Sadly, this did not leave her with satisfaction. In fact, they had tasted so good, just that good, that she desired them 3 times more the next day. And to provide her mind and heart rest and ease, the husband would have to climb down into the garden once more. So he did another time, at dusk the same day. But when he had finally reached the ground again, he got startled terribly. Why? Because he saw the mighty witch stand right before him. "How dare you," she said, with a wrathful stare into his frightened eyes. "How dare you climb into my garden and take my Rapunzels like a thief? This shall affect you terribly." "Oh," the husband answered, "have mercy. Let mercy be my justice. Only out of need, out of distress, I decided to do it. My wife had spotted your Rapunzels from the window above and felt the desire so big that she would die if she didn't get to eat them." Hearing that, the witch eased her fury and said to him, "Is it truly as you say? I shall allow you to take Rapunzels with you, as many as you like, but I shall give you one condition. You will have to give me the child your wife will bear. It shall live good. I will care for it like a mother." And in his fear, the husband accepted it all. And once the day arrived that his wife had their long-awaited child, right then and there, the witch appeared and took it with her, giving it the name Rapunzel. And so, Rapunzel grew up under the witch's care, far away from her parents' house, and she grew up to be the most beautiful child under the sun. But when she turned 12 years old, however, the mighty witch locked her in a tower deep inside a forest. It had neither stairs nor door to get inside or out. It only had a small window all the way up at the top. And when the witch wanted to get inside, she would step beneath the window, down at the foot of the tower, and call high up into the air, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel had long, gorgeous hair, finely woven like gold. Whenever she heard the witch's voice, she tied her long braid around a hook by the window and let her hair fall down about 9 meters deep. And the witch, well, she simply grabbed the braid and used it to climb up the tower as if using a regular rope. And that's how Rapunzel would live her life. But after a few more years, it so happened that the son of a king rode on horseback through the forest and passed by the tower, not knowing of its existence, but maybe led there by fate. And that is when he heard singing so lovely and sweet that he stood still and listened. The song, of course, was Rapunzel's. She was singing in her solitude, lonely up there in the isolated tower, hidden within the ocean of trees, passing the time by sending her sweet voice into the arms of the wind, gently carrying it through the leaves. The prince wanted to climb up to her, as her sound was too sweet to resist it, and looked for the door the tower must have, but found nothing. So he decided to ride home. However, the singing would never leave his mind. It had touched his heart so tenderly that he took his horse out into the forest every single day to listen to Rapunzel's voice. One day, as he was standing there behind a tree, he saw a witch come by, and overheard her call high up into the air, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And right after the witch called up, Rapunzel's long braid fell gently to the ground, and the witch climbed up to her. Would that be the ladder used to get up into that tower? The prince wondered. If so, I shall try my luck as well. And the following day, as the sky began to turn dark, he walked up to the tower and called high up into the air, as he heard the witch do it before. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." As soon as he spoke these words, the golden hair fell down to his feet, and the prince wasted no time and climbed up to the small window at the top. When Rapunzel saw the man, she was shocked immensely. A man like she had never seen in her life. But the prince began to speak to her so very friendly, told her that her singing touched his heart so deeply that he couldn't rest and simply had to see her. And that is when Rapunzel lost her fear, and when he asked her if she wanted to marry him. And Rapunzel saw that he was young and beautiful. She thought, he would love me more than the old woman Gothel does. So she said yes, and placed her hand in his. Then Rapunzel said to him, "I will gladly go with you, but I don't know how I would get down from here." And so she made a plan. "When you come to see me, bring a cloth of silk with you each time. I will turn it into a ladder, and once it's done, I will climb down with you, and you take me away on your horse's back." They agreed he would come back every evening, because the old hag would come during the day. And so it began. For many days the prince would come see her when the sun set, and bring Rapunzel a cloth of silk. She would then tie together into a ladder, piece by piece. They would talk for hours, laugh, and he would listen to her songs. They would love each other until he left for the day, and the witch never noticed any of it. Never. Until one day, when the old witch climbed through the window, and Rapunzel said to her in panting, "How come, old Gothel? How come you are so much heavier to pull up the tower than the young prince?" And now that her secret was broken, the witch screamed at Rapunzel, "Oh, you ungodly child! What do I have to hear come out of your mouth? I thought I had separated you from the rest of the world, and still you betrayed me." In her rage, the witch grabbed Rapunzel by her beautiful hair, took a pair of scissors, and forcefully cut the long golden braid off her head. The strands of hair now covering the ground beneath her feet, as if she was standing in a pile of straw. The witch was so cruel and heartless that she would send the poor Rapunzel far away into the desert, where she had to live in terrible agony and misery. The same day the witch abandoned Rapunzel, she took the loose golden braid off the ground and tied it to the hook by the window. And once the sun set and the prince returned, as he had done so every evening, and called high up into the air, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," the witch tossed the end of the braid out the window, down to the ground outside. The prince climbed up as usual, but up in the tower he couldn't find his beloved Rapunzel. Instead, he faced the old witch, who looked at him so evil with her venomous stare. She called out to him mockingly, "You came to take your dearest? Too bad, but the pretty bird no longer sits in its nest. It no longer sings. The cat took it, and it will scratch your eyes out as well. For your Rapunzel is lost, and you will never lay eyes on her again." The poor prince lost his mind through all the pain caused by his aching heart, and in his despair, he jumped down the high tower. He survived the fall. He was caught by rose bushes at the bottom of the tower, but the thorns he had fallen into had damaged his eyes. He tumbled around the forest, blind and alone, ate nothing but roots and berries, and did nothing but cry and wail over the loss of his beloved woman. And so he wandered around like that for a couple of years, with nothing but misery as his companion. But this would not be my favorite story if fate didn't have another plan for him. So as he wandered and cried, one day he made it to the desert. And that is when he heard a voice coming from the distance. A voice he felt was so familiar. He walked towards it, following the melody. And once he was close enough, a woman noticed him, recognized his face, and threw herself into his arms, crying. It was Rapunzel, who had lived a poor life in that desert for all this time. But she was not alone. She was together with the twins she had born, a boy and a girl. And as she was crying in her prince's arms, 2 of her tears gently coated his eyes, and his vision cleared up until he could see again, as if nothing ever happened. The prince took her and the children back into his kingdom, where they were welcomed with joy and cheer. And of course they lived happily ever after. It's beautiful, don't you think? How deep a love can be. That's why it is my favorite fairy tale. Not only Rapunzel and her prince, but also her parents shared a love so deep and true. No danger was ever too great, and no distance was too big. No time ever long enough to forget each other. They risked everything for love. And I like that. I like to believe that the prince helped Rapunzel find her parents too. But I let you come up with the details of that. Because now, it is time to sleep. So good night, my little darling. And sleep well. And don't forget, there are many more stories to be told.